Thank you very much, and welcome everyone for tonight's meeting. So I will call this meeting to order. Mr. Clerk.
Moved by Councillor Shane, seconded by Deputy Mayor Densham. Be it resolved that this regular meeting now open at 6 p.m.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. Is there any opening remarks from members of council? Seeing none, so I would like to take this opportunity just to apologize for staff, council, and we had some glitches with our projectors and the zooming that took place at the last meeting. So anybody that was online, we apologize. We worked hard, I believe, all week trying. So now I think we're working our way to better serve our constituents of North Stormont. So moving on to the adoption of the agenda, Mr. Clerk.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Shane. Be it resolved that the agenda be approved as presented.
Thank you. Any questions, deletion, omission on the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none.
Mr. Chair, I know we're not in the public, or we're just in the public portion, but when it comes to item 9.4, with respect to the OSIF funding, I will, just for the sake of extra transparency, recuse myself from that debate or taking a position on that.
Perfect. So we'll do it after. So Aidan, can you supply that to Councillor Bajelli? Thank you. So we are moving tonight with starting off with our public meeting in regards to, well, I'll let the clerk read the motion. Go ahead, Aidan.
Moved by Councillor Shane, seconded by Deputy Mayor Densham. Be it resolved that the public meeting portion of the regular council meeting held on March 24th, 2026 be open for the purpose of hearing comments and submissions regarding zoning matters as listed on the agenda.
Thank you. So from there, I'll look at Laura. Did you want to go through the portion for council and then we'll go to question after? Thank you.
I just noticed there was a typo, sorry. It should say that council accepts receiving the background information for item 5.2. The report is going to be coming later in the evening.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
Is council clear on that? So we'll make those changes and I'll let Laura take it from there.
Thank you. So this is a public meeting presentation for zoning bylaw amendment Z 2026-02. The applicant is Bretzler Farms Limited, and the property is located on concession 9, part lots 11 and 12, out on the outside of the village of Chrysler. This public meeting is being held pursuant to Section 34 of the Planning Act. Requests to be notified of the decision may be submitted to planning@northstormont.ca. This meeting is an open forum for the public and council to gather information, ask questions, and voice comments or concerns. An overview of the zoning amendment will be provided, followed by an opportunity for comments and questions from the public and council, and an opportunity for the applicant to address them. Decision is can be made tonight or at a later date. The notice of the public meeting was sent to all owners of land within 120 meters of the subject lands via Canada Post mail. The notice was also posted on a sign at the subject property and on the township website. And the notice was given via email to the prescribed list of agencies under the Planning Act. A 20-day appeal period begins following the decision. If a person or public body would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Township of North Stormont to the Ontario Land Tribunal, but the person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of North Stormont before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of North Stormont before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal, unless in the opinion of the tribunal there are reasonable grounds to do so. And just to note that Bill 185 removed appeal rights for most zoning amendments, and only public bodies and specified persons such as utility companies or aggregate operations may appeal. So the site location for the proposed zoning amendment is on the corner of Chrysler Station Road and County Road 12 in Chrysler. It's just south of the village of Chrysler, and it's approximately 61 acres. The official plan designation of the property, so there's two. The north is residential district within the settlement boundary of Chrysler, and the south is designated as agricultural resource lands. The north side of the property, the current zoning is residential first density, so R1, and the south side is agricultural resource lands. Sorry, just agricultural. And the proposed zoning, these zoning changes are conditions of a consent application. The picture here, you'll see the pink shows the severed land and the blue is the retained land. The pink land is within the settlement boundary of Chrysler and is identified as a future growth area for the village. So as a condition of the consent application, we're proposing a holding zone on that portion, just to make sure that the property is developed in an orderly way through a plan of subdivision. And then once the municipality is satisfied with that plan of subdivision and studies, then later on the holding zone can be removed. So that's for the north portion that's in pink. And then for the south portion, it's going to be rezoned from agricultural to agricultural exception 20. The exception 20 prohibits residential uses on the land, and this was requested as a condition from SDG Transportation Services as a condition of the consent. And that agricultural 20 prohibits residential uses, which is okay with the applicant. The applicant's currently using the blue portion for agricultural cropping purposes, and they're gonna be continuing this use. And we have not received any public or agency comments on this application.
Perfect, thank you. So at this point, I'll look at council. Any questions, starting with Councillor Bajelli?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Just one question. For the southern portion of that would be zoned into agriculture exception 20, can that at a later time then be redesignated again if there was a further ask?
Yes, so through you, Mayor, if there was, say for example in the future, if they did want to expand the settlement boundary and to include that, that would go through the, that could be removed and redesignated, say as settlement boundary or R1 for future development. At this time, it's not something that we're looking at doing. So right now, it'll just still be used as agricultural land.
And on that, is that designation authorized by the municipality, or is that through the official plan and the counties to expand your village limits, basically?
Yes, so I don't know all the background studies and stuff that would be needed, but they probably, I'm guessing there's growth studies and stuff like that needed to look at where the settlement boundary expansions are happening or should happen. Sorry, is that kind of
Yeah,
what
well,
you're asking?
To be honest, maybe Allison can elaborate on that. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the like settlement area boundaries are set by the county in the official plan, so the township would not be able to change that ourselves. We would have to work with the county to do that.
Does that answer a little bit? So yes, but it's not at this table. Yeah, it would go aye. So Deputy Mayor Densham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Laura, for the presentation. A couple of things. I'm trying to remember, is this the property, the one that we're looking to rezone, is this the one where there's already the trail that comes down into that? Okay, I'm seeing nods for those who are are listening over, so that's good. The second thing, can you just highlight the type of studies that we would expect to have happen to allow us to allow the owner to be able to remove the H? I know in the past there have been questions a lot from the public regarding, the availability of utilities like water and sewer and all of those things. But can you just touch on a list of what are the things that would actually be studied, just for the sake of the public, so they understand from your perspective, what are the things that would need to get done in order to justify the appropriate removal of the H in this thing? And my third question, and last question, is I just want to confirm, based on what we just discussed about the settlement area, that all of this basically fits in the settlement area. And is that border between the two, the border of the settlement area, or not?
Yeah, Aiden, would you mind going back to the slide showing the, there we go. Thank you. So to answer your question about removing the H, so there would be a plan of subdivision, and they would also look at extending the water and sewer services, because I don't believe right now that there's water and sewer there. So they would extend that, make sure that there's enough capacity for both those services. And we would need to see a plan of subdivision, see how the lots are going to be laid out. They would do all the studies associated with that. So traffic, servicing, everything else. And then at that point, once the plan of subdivision is approved, there's going to be subsequent public meetings, subsequent consultation for that plan of subdivision. Then the H would be removed to allow the building of those lots. And the second question, the settlement boundary does divide the pink and the blue. So the north side, the pink is within the settlement boundary, and the south is outside.
That's great. Just a quick supplemental on the study. If or when it gets to the point of development, it's the developer who will be responsible to provide the utility infrastructure into that area, correct? To pay for that versus the municipality, the ratepayers paying for that, or how does that work?
That's my understanding. Is
Yeah, so everything in regards to our subdivision agreement that would be written would allocate but all the costs are borne by the developer. Building the roads, the infrastructure, everything is the hydro, and once it meets our satisfaction is when we sign off after doing a peer review from our engineers, making sure that everything is to our satisfaction, similar to the pumping station. Our service provider, being Aqua, would be the ones to so all that aspect of it is borne by the developer.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank
Yep.
you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, so I think we have people in the gallery. I had a discussion, so some thinking that there's questions in regards to the development, which this is not really. We don't know any of the details of the development. This is more getting the zoning aspect of it. But I still will ask if there's anybody in the audience that would like to have a question. Seeing none, moving on. So I'll look at you. So do we just go to close, or we'll go and bring the hearing to an end? So item 5.2, Mr. Clerk.
Moved by Councillor Shane, seconded by Councillor McDonald, that council accept the report recommending changes to the zoning of certain lands to the Township of North Stormont relating to Z 2026-02, Bretzler Farms Limited, from residential first density, R1, to residential first density holding, R1H, and agriculture, AG, to agriculture exception 20, AG 20, as described in attached Schedule A.
Thank you. Excuse me. Any questions in regards to?
sorry, again, the recommendation should be to accept the background information.
did you want to maybe have a look and kind of make sure that it was, so that's the change that you had brought up, that we need to, background. Does that make sense? Okay, thanks, Laura. So any questions, further questions?
Do not need a motion to amend, and then we would go ahead and approve the amended motion.
So if you don't mind, then maybe we'll rewrite it and amend this one and then
So I'll move a motion to amend section 5.2
5.2.
to changing the word report, accept the report to accept the background information.
Correct.
So I'll move that motion.
Sorry, just a point of clarification. Is the word recommending, do you want that removed as well, or just background information regarding changes, or recommending? What do you?
That council accept the background information to the zoning on certain lands.
Rather than recommending, I think it's just, that's the potential strength behind that language that she's trying to avoid.
So who had moved and seconded the,
So I'll move the amendment to remove report recommending changes to accept the background information.
information? And that was seconded by Councillor McDonald. Are you good with the amendment? Perfect. Did you want to reread it? Are you good with the way we worded the amendment?
Technically, we have to all in favor of the amendment, and then we have to read the new motion.
Agreed. So, oh, sorry, I see what you're saying. Okay, so all in favor of the amendment? Motion's carried. And then moving where I'll have you reread the amended motion, please.
Moved by Adrian Bajelli, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Be it resolved that the council accept the background information, recommending? Or not? Accept the background information regarding changes to the zoning of certain lands in the Township of North Stormont relating to Z-2026-02, Bretzler Farms Limited, from residential first density, R1, to residential first density, holding R1H, and agriculture, AG, to agriculture exception 20, AG 20, as described in attached Schedule A.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. So moving to a resolution, or by closing the public meeting, please.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Shane. Be it resolved that the public meeting portion of the regular council meeting held on March 24th, 2026 regarding zoning matters be declared closed.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much. So moving on to our regular council agenda, there is no delegations being held tonight, so we'll go to item 7, the adoption of minutes of our previous meetings. Mr. Clerk?
Moved by Deputy Mayor Densham, seconded by Councillor Shane. Be it resolved that the following minutes be approved as presented. Regular meeting, 10th of March, 2026, minutes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Densham.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I just realized I wasn't there for that meeting, so I can't move it. I can't move the motion.
You were there?
My apologies.
Perfect. You're good with that. Thank you. So in regards to our previous minutes, all in favor? Or sorry, I should ask, any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Moving to our monthly staff reports and recommendation, starting with item 9.1 in regards to sale of surplus lands.
Moved by Councillor Shane, seconded by Deputy Mayor Densham, that the Council of the Township of North Stormont declares roll number 0411-016-000-34000.0000 vacant land legally described as Con 1, Part Lot 7 on Bender Road as surplus lands and is no longer required by the township, and further directs administration to obtain a value of the property through an appraiser.
Thank you. Can I get, Madam Treasurer, would you be the one just to identify what was that piece of land and where it's deemed not needed anymore?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. That property is a 0.45 acre piece of vacant land on the corner of Strathmore and Bender Road. Currently has an assessment value of $29,000 based on 2016 rates. It's a tiny piece of land. It's actually got a drain going through it. It's not buildable. But there has been some interest in possibly obtaining that by abutting property owners. Right now, the proper procedure is to have council approve it as surplus land and no longer needed. And then we'd like to get an appraisal done on it because we have no idea what it's worth.
And do we know the background? Like, why was that, excuse me, in Township's hands? So was there a purpose for that lot, or did it just, so there was no previous need for that lot that we're no longer...
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no. It was originally brought forward. I brought it forward in 2024. It didn't make council because I was advised not to bring it forward. But there's been continued interest in some of the abutting property owners for that little chunk of land just to make their other piece of land complete.
Any questions from council? Seeing none, so all in favor of moving ahead with the appraisal? Motion is carried. Is that the direction you're looking right now?
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Perfect. Now, we'll get the appraisal. Is this coming back to the table if and when there's more, if there is interest in the property?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving to item 9.2, a request for a proposal for municipal audit services.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Densham, seconded by Councillor McDonald, that the Council of the Township of North Stormont awards request for proposal, RFP, FIN-01 for municipal audit services 2026 to 2029 to MNP LLP in the amount of $220,550 for the 4-year period.
So before I go to, I feel there's an explanation coming, so I'll let
Through
Madam
you,
Treasurer.
Mr. Mayor. Typically for audited services, it's a 4 to 5 year term. Our current auditor has been with us for 9 years, so it is time to put it out for proposal again. Of the 5 that were sent out, only 2 bids came in, and they were scored very objectively with a matrix. Price was weighted at 35%, but there were other factors involved. We had qualifications of the firm, experience of the firm, past performance, methodology, scheduling, clarity of proposal, and then price as well. The scoring was done independently by 2 individuals, myself and the deputy treasurer, and the results came out the same. If there had been two differences of opinions, the CAO was going to evaluate it as well, but he didn't feel there was a need since we both had the same idea, the same scoring rather. The MNP proposal was more solid. The methodology was great. It had, the timelines were clearer. Overall, and they had some things in there that weren't requested. They have advancements in technology. They actually use some AI to do just basic checks before they do their independent audit. Yes, I do realize the price is higher, but it was not the only thing that qualified. As per the procurement policy, 16.35, the township reserves the right to reject any tenders or accept any tenders considered in the best interest of the township. This is the recommendation that's being brought forward tonight.
I'll speak, but I'll go to my council. So I'll start with Deputy Mayor Densham.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I agree with the fact that we should always be taking a fresh look, especially when it gets to the point of the end of a contract or whatever. I would actually love to see the scoring just to understand the weighting and the elements and how they're weighted in that. The second question is, was the other one that was evaluated our current past auditor or not? Or did they not even bid?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it is our current auditor.
Pardon?
It is our current auditor that also bid.
Yes, okay. Because they know our business, et cetera, and again, from my perspective, they've served us well, not to suggest that that's guarantee of coming in. But I guess that's what I'm trying to understand is well, what's the price difference between the two bids? Again, I agree with you 100%. It's not all about price.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the prices, I thought they were on the report, sorry, sir.
Right here,
Are they?
220 and 163.
Yeah. MNP came in at 220,000 and Welch came in at 163,250. Now, these numbers are not annual, so don't panic. They're over the 4-year period because the contract or the agreement is over the 4-year period. So it has to be evaluated, and as per the procurement policy, it's the total amount of the contract. So, and in all fairness, there are extras in the pricing, like they're not, so they have an annual price, but then they have extra hourly prices. For example, if they have to do, say they find something wrong in one of our other departments and they feel it's necessary for them to spend extra work, they will charge us extra on top of that base amount. So they do also provide hourly rates.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective, I don't think we have any problems with the work that was done previously by the current by the current auditor or past auditor. To pay 35% more, I just would love to understand what is it specifically that you think creates 35% more value if we were already getting a level of service that was acceptable from this perspective. And I agree with the fact that yes, it may be more, but I don't know. Are we saying that the auditor that you're recommending is capping it 100% at that charge, or could they as well have additional charges if additional work is required?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, they could as well. Depends on what happens. We had to base it. We have a good working relationship with our current auditors. It has nothing to do with that. But the two proposals that were brought in, we scored them very, very objectively, and that's the way we had to do it. Because you can always say, well, I really like so-and-so, so I want to pick them, and you can't do that. So, and that's the reason why we did the matrix, we did the scoring, and we had two people independently do it. We didn't have a discussion over the scoring. It was, you come out and I come out, and we'll see what happens. So.
Yes, one last comment if I can. And I am absolutely not saying we liked them better. That is not the point. The point is, if we are getting a quality job for $163,000, then I need to be able to justify to the ratepayers why we would pay 35% more. What's the actual value that we're going to realize by that 35% more? Because if the job gets done and it gets done adequately for what it is, it feels like we're buying a Cadillac when we could drive a RAV4.
In the proposals, one of the things that was important was the timelines. One of the items identified on the timeline did not meet what was in the proposal. A lot of things in one of the proposals refers to what they can do for not-for-profit organizations, and we're not one. So it had no bearing on what we currently do. So those were two of the items. The proposals, one totally outscored, not totally outscored, but one outscored the other because of some of the factors involved. The MNP one is a great proposal. It had some of the certifications of the members of the team, met the timelines, yes, more in price, had some innovative ways of doing auditing with some AI features. I checked references.
Okay, no, I personally am not convinced that we need to pay 35% more, but that's my position.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor McDonald.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand the concept of like scoring the proposals, and And I understand that they would charge us hourly if they needed to do more work. One thing that I'm concerned about with some, like, especially for making a decision to spend more money on them based on their timeline and their skilled people, if they were not meeting those timelines or they did not actually provide those types of, that level of skilled auditor or financial person for our audit, is there any financial penalty to them? You know, because I do find that with the audits, I'm hearing different things from people, but timelines were an issue last year for multiple organizations. So I just, you know, I'm okay to pay to get a good quality service and a high quality audit. But what will happen if that's not what we get and we've paid, you know, I agree, significantly more. So I have a little concern about that, and I don't know if there's anything that you can do, but it is a concern.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there is a clause in that proposal that if we're not happy, we can give them notice. So we're not stuck for 4 years. If the service is not what we want, we will go out and retender again.
Yeah, okay.
Any questions? Comments on that side?
Just, again, without seeing the scoring grid or what without that contract would look like with those clauses, it's hard to make that kind of commitment when we are talking 35%, roughly 35% difference. Also taking into fact that we're making, not knowing that exit clause, we're making a decision that's locking this next term of council, whoever they may be in, for the duration of their term as well, at potentially a higher rate. So I'm of the same boat where there is value for dollar, but you need to see that value.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if there's appetite for this information to be disclosed at possibly a closed session, because I'm not comfortable discussing this in a public forum, nor am I comfortable sharing the scoring in a public forum. It may be wise to look at it in a closed session. It's not on fire, but you know, we need to get it done sooner than later to book any interim audits for the fall. It might fall under, we've looked at it, some clauses for closed session under, it could possibly be a criteria to any applied negotiations with vendors, or it could have a commercial or financial information that belongs to the municipality that we don't share publicly. So I'll leave that up to council's discretion.
Councillor Shane?
Just one question, because we kind of kept alluding back to the hourly rate that can be over and above, just from past years of experience. What would that add up to that we may have been charged in a year?
In the past, our budget and past proposals have been around the $40,000 mark for budget, and they've come in around 46.
So not 35% higher than.
It depends on what extra work has to be done,
Putting
right?
that number into perspective, because it is a big price difference here.
So, if I may, so I'm kind of in the same boat. So when I was reading this, I wasn't too sure. So both names, so often we get tenders coming from outside where we don't know. We use the metrics of the scoring system, and it's kind of where we understand what the, but I believe the two names in front of me are reputable names that are serving our region. So whenever you look at that, the fact of saying where the additional hours can go both ways. So MN can as well come with an additional cost to their, correct?
For sure, and through you, Mr. Mayor, they're both reputable firms. The scoring is the scoring. It's not trying to find fault with one. It's just this is the way it came out, and business is business. So we tried to do it the fairest way possible.
But the final product is that we get our audit report given back to council, and one we're paying 35%, 58%, which again is you're getting close to $12,000 a year more, and are we getting the bang for our buck? If maybe, and I agree in closed, if we feel that staff is underlying saying how they work, and from the metrics that you've seen in your scoring, maybe there is value with that. But it's just not knowing what the scoring was. It is a tough decision. Now, my question was for this spring, the audit work, that's more for coming into the fall that we are looking at filling that tender.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, it's for the 2026 audit. So the interim audit would take place in like October, November, and then we'll try to book it again for March. So we
So
can
it
get.
doesn't affect our spring, that's from last 2025 moving
Correct.
forward. So
And, you know, the reason we try to do this early is so we can book those fall appointments and the spring appointments, because one of the things that's dear to my heart is the FIR, which is due May 31st, and that does affect funding if it's not submitted, so.
So last questions, if we do line up, our next meeting is April 14th. If we do line up, or do we need to get a closed sooner if we wanted to discuss, or I'll look at council to see what, do we feel that we want more information in, or are we prepared to get this motion tabled and see? Councillor McDonald.
I'd suggest a closed at the next regularly scheduled meeting, if that's okay to still accommodate your fall.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the April 14th one is quite a booked meeting. I don't want to push it off that much, but if that's council's decision, that's council's decision. It's just April 14th, I know is
the public meeting.
yes, it's a busy meeting, sorry.
There's a maybe, if we're looking at passing it, is there an appetite to have an earlier, so instead of a 6, if we do come prior, we can discuss it in close and still have it on the agenda for, to pass it on the 14th?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not the procedural person.
Does that could work? So is that good? So we will just defer the motion to next meeting. Perfect. All in favor? Motion's carried. Moving on to item 9.3 in regards to SPCA and Humane Society donation.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Shane. Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of North Stormont approves a donation to the Ontario SPCA and Humane Society in the amount of $3,000 per year for the years 2026 to 2030, 5 years, to support a new animal care and veterinary clinic to solve animal crisis in our region.
Thank you. So that's one that was brought back from last meeting. I think the wording is better. So the intent was their council had agreed to look at making the donation. It just was not clear to, and when it came back to us, if I'm not mistaken, it was mentioned that it was basically just for animal care, which I think the intent of council was to support the new animal care building and the clinic for to serve our region. So it's towards the build, not the care. So with that said, any questions from council? Seeing none, there's no, do we have the motion read? Yeah, so all in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Moving to the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, the OCIF funding. So,
Moved by Deputy Mayor Dencham, seconded by Councillor Shane.
Excuse me, Deputy Clerk. I believe if you seek it, you'll find consensus from all members that we would dispense with the reading of this motion.
So I'll, so as the motion reads, maybe I'll lead this one here. So basically, OCIF is, and I'm not sure quite the year, but it was established at 100 million. They came on board and bumped it up to 400. And if I get a frown from Adrian, maybe he knows more the details. What that is basically it's the contract that was brought forward ends in 2026, and this is OCIF money that we've relied on as a municipality for our, and I'm sure our treasurer will vouch for that. So what we're looking at is we need the stability to be able to determine our faith, and not knowing is to try to apply for grant. This is something I think that was established, and I feel that we need to support it. There's other municipalities in our region that are in the same frame of thought that they want to support. So I feel it's just something that we should just look at. We cannot, OMPF has been, actually it's gone up a little bit, but we've gone down for many years. It's just we're relying on these fundings, and I think that we should support that venture. So motions on the table. Any further discussion? Council or Deputy Mayor Densham?
I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. It's always a bit of a push and pull in terms of funding. The province is looking to spend money wisely, I'm sure, but their focus isn't necessarily on us, where our expenses continue to go up, and and quite often we end up sometimes supplementing some of the things that we believe should be covered by the province, and even some of the recent messaging around development charges and stuff like that. The province often wants us to try to tighten our belts, but the only way to get the job done and meet our service levels is to have the appropriate funding in place. And if the province doesn't continue to support that, then we have to look for alternatives that aren't always favorable. So I think the best way for the province to be able to ensure that we're doing the job is make sure that we have the funding necessary. And I think this just continues to deliver that general message back to the province. And they sometimes ask us to tighten our belt, and we have to reply back, well, we need support then. And I think it's an appropriate motion, so thank you for raising it.
Any other questions? Seeing none, so all in favor? Motion is carried. Moving on to our municipal bylaw, so bylaw number 19-2026, in regards to zoning bylaw amendment, Z-2026-02.
Moved by Councillor Shane, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Be it resolved that council approve bylaw 19-2026 to change the zoning of certain lands in the Township of North Stormont from residential first density, R1, to residential first density holding, R1H, and agricultural, AG, to agricultural, exception 20, AG 20, as described in the attached Schedule A.
Thank you. So that's from our previous, so if there's further question, Laura's still here with us, but any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Moving on to our correspondence, 11.1 to 11.11.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Densham, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Be it resolved that the correspondence as listed as items 11.2 to 11.11 on the agenda be received.
Any questions in regard to our correspondence? Just one that I'd like to, I'm not bringing forward, but just to kind of, it is in the agenda in regards to the Alto project. That's, there's lots of discussions that are being had. I participated in our Warden's Caucus meeting in Kingston on last Thursday and Friday. And basically the direction that everybody, so just on our side, we are not affected in North Stormont by the corridor of the, and even at SDNG level. So the corridor is more running through Prescott Russell into Ottawa, and in Ottawa it's in line with Peterborough. So many of them are, and the concerns or the message from the Eastern Ontario Warden's Caucus is we recognize the importance of a nation building infrastructure of this magnitude. It's not that we're against it, but there is a lot of more discussions to be had and to be clarified, because right now it's kind of, and the worrisome is splitting farmland in half. This high-speed rail is not just where they put the, what's the wigwam or wigwag? So there's no such thing. So it's a fence corridor. So when we're looking at, for our sake, our fire service would be where you get dead end roads, because once you get to the track, you're turning around. Now you got to get on the other side, which could be, so there's a lot of factor. Our premier has made the comment where the 401 corridor would be, I know they're trying to hit the city of Ottawa, but would be something to consider. So there's still lots. It's moving quite fast, and there's a lot of people that are just not sure. So right now we're more in a supporting role. It's not affecting so much our residents, but it's something I think that we should keep in the back of our minds to see where this will take us. So just comment, more, nothing right now for the purpose of bringing it forward. So with that said, any other further questions? I think I already asked. Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Moving on, no motion. So our next regular council meeting will take place April 14th, 2026. Coming events. I'm always glad to see where I look at everything that's going on in our communities for people to get, whether it's our breakfast evenings. When I look at cornhole, you've got euchre night, you've got summer, or no, that's registration, trivia night that's going on. So it's nice to see and the public, I think, are engaged because it keeps coming back. So if that wasn't working, we wouldn't see it, but good on our communities to keep supporting or handing out those services. So with that said, there's no more, so moving to ratification bylaw, please.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Shane. Be it resolved that bylaw number 20-2026, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify council's actions at its regular meeting of council, be read and passed in open council this 24th day of March, 2026.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion's carried. And our adjournment, please.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Densham, seconded by Councillor Shane. Be it resolved that this regular meeting adjourn at 6:47 p.m.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. Well, thank you very much, staff and council. Everyone have a good night, and see you in 2 weeks.